Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of the Sons of Montezuma podcast. The Aztecs fall to New Mexico and now the Mountain West. Oh, man, it's going to get real interesting this final week. Championship week before we get into the tournament. Guys, it is officially March. Let's get this thing going, guys. Aztec Warrior, what's going on? I'm joined by Mike Tortolot, East Tahoe. How are you doing, Mike? What was the best thing you did today, Mike? What was the best thing you did today?
Back into it.
I got to hang out with family today, chilling with my pops. Fiend, what was the best thing you did today, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Went to the Aqua Pills in that game, so it was a lot of fun, and it was a great day to be outside, and got to see some of the football players that stopped by. It's really cool to see the other teams, supporting each other, and so yeah, I mean it was a good day overall.
Beautiful day outside. If you guys are in the San Diego area, unreal, unbelievable. It's still technically winter, right? Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, let's get into some basketball talk because that's what we're here to do, guys. Tough day yesterday. Thank you for the homies making it out. We were watching the game together before we went over to the women's game, which the women's, shout out to them. They closed off the season with another W, beat Wyoming. I mean, just hey, we can get into that a little bit later, but congrats to them, senior day. But we were together watching this Aztecs Lobos game, the 100th game between the two, the final game in the pit as members of the Mountain West, and we all know the Aztecs are taking off for the Pac-12. So a lot was built up to it. Big CBS, they knew what was going on, all the storylines. Big CBS, it is what it is. Always on a road game, always early in the morning for us, but it's all good. Of course, Coach Olsen. They finally got over the hump, right? Because all those years at UCSD losing to the Aztecs in like nail biter fashion, they finally got over the Aztecs, and they won a very, very big game. We knew this was going to be big, guys. 81-76 came down to that final minute, and it's a frustrating one, guys. Biggest things that jump out to you guys from this game, because there's a lot of repercussions that come from it. Of course, we know this is the final week coming up. We'll get into those matchups that are going on. But, Fiend, we were together watching this thing. Frustrating game, right? What's the biggest thing that jumped out to you? Good, bad, ugly, and different?
I would say that the biggest thing that jumped out at me was the lack of change in strategy to try to limit or stop Boljan. He dominated us again. The guy had his second and third highest point totals of the year against the Aztecs, and his second and fourth highest total rebounding games. And so that really says something about our interior and our how we struggle to play big guys. We struggled against Grand Canyon. We struggled against Arizona. We struggled against Michigan. And so it's just this recurring theme that we are having difficulty when you get these big guys, especially not just tall, but thick, big. They're able to bully us around. And yeah, we got daddy by him 2 times this year.
Real quick, Fiend, what is the common denominator between those 4 teams that you mentioned on the interior?
They all have pro player. Like
what's the one common denominator of those big guys on those 4 teams? Where do they come from?
I would say, well, not all of them, but not Michigan, but the other teams, they all come from Europe, and they're pro players, and they're like 23 years old, right? That's a whole nother discussion. I mean, you're right; they shouldn't be even playing in college basketball, but that's what you have to deal with. And here's my point, though, is that other teams in the Mountain West have been successful in limiting his shot, his points, and his rebounds. Why can't the same thing?
No. That's a good question.
Well, if you're looking at the stats, guys, 24 points, 18 boards. 9 of them offensive. 9 of them just from Boljan alone. So that really was a difference maker. Fiend, our last episode, me and Mike were talking. That was the guy to watch for. We said it, Buljan, in your preview article. That was a big point of boards and Buljan. Like he was the focus. Last game against New Mexico at home, Aztecs beat them. It was a awesome game. Came down to the wire. Goon was only in for a few minutes. That's the game where he kind of aggravated the hip, and he left. Right. So this was that matchup that you were going to see. Okay, you know how are we going to fare with Goon back? The team's playing well, and it didn't go our ways. A lot of question marks we can get into. We're going to get into those. Mike, kind of tough to piggyback off of that, but what was the thing that stood out to you in this game, this 100th matchup?
Free throws. Free throws, 13 of 22, right? There was quite a few free throws that they could have, if they would have made, like we talked about in last year, I think it was, that you make a free throw at a certain time, it could change the trajectory of the game. So to me, it was a sloppy game overall, sloppy reffing like last year for both teams, or last game for both teams. So it wasn't just them or us, but it was the free throws. And I'll tell you what, man, if I had to, Buljan's the only one in the conference, I believe, is averaging a double-double. So he's a monster. So I was thinking about it today, and I was like, dude, this guy, man, but at the end of the day, what's the difference between him as being a freshman with 1 year eligibility or as a fifth-year senior? I mean, Reese is in his sixth year. So honestly, to me, it's like, all right, man, like they just, whatever his moniker of, freshman, senior, whatever it is, the dude's a monster. If I had to vote just on the games we saw against him, I'd vote him player of the year. He's a hell of a player. And at the, the other thing too, is they made timely shots. Luke Hopp made that shot, that three. And they just made big shots and we didn't, at the end of the game, I'm perfectly okay with BJ taking that last shot. Was it the right shot? Not necessarily, but I don't have a problem him taking that last shot. Maybe not that specific shot.
With him taking that shot, him
Correct.
being the one taking the shot, just not that shot.
Correct.
Fiend's shaking his head. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like the player taking that shot.
No, it's not the player taking the shot. It's the lack of awareness in that situation. You got 17 seconds on the clock. He came off a pick and roll, right? And he got doubled. And he still pulls up and tries an off-balance three that he airballs. That ball should have been reversed to Heidi. Heidi could have thrown it over to Bird, and Bird could have come off a screen and hit a wide-open three. But BJ, the lack of awareness that late in the game was so costly, because you mentioned Hop hitting that three. And if you look at that play that they did, Tanet came off a pick and roll, but what did he do? He cut middle, right, and got into the middle of the lane, and Luke Hop was wide open for a three-point shot on the wing. They ran that play several times, and they got wide open shots out of it.
Okay, but you guys are saying the same thing. Essentially, you guys are saying the same thing. I mean, it's a bad shot. Not the player taking the shot, but that opportunity, swing it around, find something different, find a better shot, take a better shot.
That's the difference between why they won and why we lost, is because not having situal awareness like that. That's just my take on that. I think they're a better disciplined, better coach team than we are. I don't think they're more talented. I think we're more talented, but I think they're better coached and they're better disciplined. They have better situational awareness to understand when you're doubled and when you're up, when you're down number wise. And they just do a much better job of that. And that's why we're not winning these close games. We're not playing smart enough on the road to win these tight games.
I disagree, homeboy. The thing that was a bad thing was that 17-7 run to end the half. That got them back in the game. That got the crowd back in the game. And then the second half was a totally different game. If we're up by 10 at half, different game. But that 17-7 to run to end the game, end the half, totally changed the complexion of this game. Because stat-wise, outside of offensive rebounds, we beat them on everything else. But like Buljan, like how do you, like at some point you're like, dude, like he was just taking it, like there was no issue with him getting to the hole at all, and he got a bunch of rebounds. 18 rebounds is ridiculous. 9 defensive, 9 offensive. I mean, offensive. We had how many? We had 7 offensive rebounds. He had more than us as one player as a whole team. Yeah, that's our bugaboo. And now losing 3 of the last 4. It's tough, man.
It is tough because I don't think anything that we're going to say tonight is wrong. I think everybody can kind of look at flaws, look at things and say, that's the reason why, or that's the reason why, or that's the reason why. And I don't think anybody would be wrong. Free throws, offensive boards, bull John. When you look at the numbers, though, guys, I mean, 45% field goal percentage from us. We shot better field goal percentage than they did, 39%. Of course, they hit slightly more three-pointers percentage wise, but we actually hit more three-pointers. The boards is the big one, of course. Free throws now. Okay, look, I understand we missed a lot of free throws. I don't think we've ever had a disparity as far as amount of free throws than what we saw. 14 difference in free throws total. Hey, it is what it is. You got to take advantage of the opportunity, but that is a pretty big factor. A lot of home cooking. You could point to that. You guys saw it in the highlight package. 30 seconds left. An obvious replay that was plain as day for anybody to see. It was off of a Lobo player. I can't remember who had it. Was that
Uriah Stevens, I think his name is, right?
Okay. I mean, it was completely obvious. And if you're at home watching on TV, you see all the angles. I mean, you're seeing what the refs are saying. They're probably seeing more angles than we are. I would hope. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Let us know. What do you guys think? I thought it was completely obvious. For those of you crying at us on Twitter and on Facebook or whatever, like, look, police games come down to the final possessions. No matter what happens in the previous three quarters, it comes down to that last minute. Bird had just hit a three. You know, you pull yourself within one. You have an opportunity, 30 seconds left in the game. I mean, come on. I'm not going to say Gloria Navarez. I know we had some fun with that. We had some fun with Gloria saying, hey, the fix was in, or, you know, they weren't going to let us leave with a win there. And, you know, some of that, I'll scratch my neck on that. I'll raise my eyebrow to that. But you have to wonder when you see everything, the stage was set. Maybe those refs weren't going to be able to leave New Mexico intact if they would have, set the Aztecs up. Fiend,
it was a review. It was a review. I love all these Lobo fans. Well, this call didn't go our way, and this call didn't. Was it reviewed? No. This was a review. When you review, what is the point of reviewing a game or a call if you can't get it right as a referee? You know, that was an egregious mistake on their part. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. I'm not going to go conspiracy theory on that, but we'll see.
Even against Michigan, Fiend, even against Michigan, like the top one team at the time, Arizona, top two teams at the time, we didn't have a foul. That wasn't that big of a foul difference against much bigger teams, much more physical teams than this New Mexico team at home. Like, well, come on.
I will give them credit though. Here's the thing. I will give them credit because if you look at the guys who took the most foul shots, it was Tenet and Hopped, and they are really good at, you know, coming off of pick and rolls and slashing to the basket and getting to 2 feet and
ain't that good.
Getting our guys up in the air.
They ain't that good.
They're more skilled at drawing fouls than we are. Okay, we were not attacking the basket like they were. We were not shot faking like they were. And so you look at all the fouls that like Luke Hopp got. I mean, that's what he does really well. And he got to the foul line, so it's a net, and they knocked down foul shots.
You got anything on this, Mike, or are you avoiding all this QAnon? Everybody say we're inviting QAnon to the chat.
Well, first of all, Tenet had the third most free throws. Behind Bujan was second. So we'll stats correct. Fact check. But you should. Here's the thing. Again, we go back. You started out good. You ended the half bad. You had a chance to be there. If you allow games to come down to even Gene Sarator is like, hey, that's their ball, and it wasn't. It ended up being their ball. So okay, but you can't let that affect you for the next play, and you shouldn't really allow that to be down to one play like that to affect the outcome of a game. Unfortunately, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you allow that to be, that could have been that's a coin flip, 50-50 at that end of the day, right? Were the refs right? I don't know. Were they wrong? I don't know. But that's the call they made on the court. So New Mexico got the benefit of the doubt on that call, and they took advantage of it. And we didn't take, it was a sloppy game overall, even though it was a high scoring game, but they made fewer mistakes. They took advantage of the mistakes more than we did. And by the way, it was their first sellout of the year. So again, These guys know when you come to San Diego State, it's different when you go on the road. Everybody, look at Hop, look at Hall. They watched Aztecs growing up. Hop's dad played for State, so these guys are like, hey, dude, like this. These are the guys we want to go after. These are the guys we want. We grew up watching these guys. We want to play these guys. And even I think Hop, or I think he said that it was amazing to beat him. I haven't beat him in how long he was in college at Point Loma, and then whatever UCSD or wherever he was. But he's like, I hadn't beat him, and I wanted to beat him. So there's a different, like, we beat teams so much over the years. Now it's kind of starting to catch up to it because teams are getting better, right? That they want to come and say, hey, we want to beat State. Like, because if you look at the record against all the teams in the conference, and New Mexico, we have a bugaboo at the pit. We struggle there. Like, we just struggle. We're never, like Dutch said, we're never going back. we ain't never going back. We're never going to Nevada. We're never going to Wyoming. We're never going to Air Force. We're never going to New Mexico. So, hey, you know what? Congratulations to New Mexico, man. They played well at home. They played ferocious. They beat us. They took advantage of our mistakes, and we didn't. And, it is what it is, man. This is a good conference. 2 teams at 13-5 and one at 14 and what was the other one? 13-5 and 14-4. Now you have 2 games left. New Mexico.
No.
Hey, you got to take
No.
Now what? All right.
Look. Don't try to put a punctuation on the point. New Mexico is 9th in the conference at free throw attempts.
I mean, they had it. It was.
If I'm looking at it correctly, I want to say they're maybe not 9th, but they're pretty down there at the bottom. Boise, Nevada actually shoots a lot more than anybody else. So
there's home cooking there, right? We get it. It is what it is, man. You can't. Each game's different. What are you gonna do? Free throws and offensive rebounds is what killed us again.
Yeah, I know. I'm just having some fun with all you corn on the salsa eaters. I get it. I know you guys.
Trader Joe's does have a good corn salsa. I'll be honest with you. It's not bad. Like, would I get it all the time? Probably not.
Get out.
You know what I mean? Like, but
it goes very well with a Merlot, right? It goes very well with a Merlot.
But yeah, you're right, and you're right, man. Day games we struggle, and we always get day games on the road when we're playing on CBS.
Gotta fix it. Gotta fix it.
This year. There was 3 this year, correct?
Gotta change that.
Like, Carlos State was 3:00. This was 11, and then it was noon. So, whatever, man. Hey, you know what, Bujan? Unbelievable game, unbelievable player. They beat us, and now it's time to collect ourselves. And the worry I have, do you really think this team has it in them to win 3 in a row? At this point, the way you look at them, I still think they can. But looking at them, in my heart, I can. In my head, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Here's the thing, like, and when you look at the rest of the conference, and this is a good segue to kind of get into the bigger picture talk, right? Because now with Nevada losing, that was an awesome game, by the way, overtime game. They lose to UNLV, who absolutely went off. It's a 3-team race now in the Mountain West in this final week. It's Utah State, New Mexico, and San Diego State. So do we have a chance to win 3 in a row? I absolutely think we do. But this is the conference. This is the conference
championship. I'm talking about
how this week is going to finish off. Right. But in the conference, you have to look at this conference as a whole. Like we said, like some of these teams have lost 2 in a row at the top, right? Utah State did, we did, New Mexico, it's not like San Diego State is going through something all to themselves that nobody else at the top is going through. Like, can they win 3 in a row? Absolutely. Like, this is a down year. Let's be honest, guys. With all the hype coming into this season, like, we were totally hoping for a much better, fruitful season. But look at it. We're literally in the race for the regular season championship. So, like, yes, is it frustrating? Yes. But
right.
Top three teams.
Yeah.
They're in the same boat. It's not like one is so much better than the other.
Glass half full. I dig that about you, bro. Here's the thing.
It's just truth. It's just truth. The numbers.
No other team has lost three or four in the top, New Mexico or Utah State. And this late in the game where you should be gelling, I still think there's something wrong with Goon. I don't think he's fully healthy. Like, there's something he's you know what I mean? Like, it's just something seems a little bit off about him, right? So, but at the end of the day, you got to go into Boise and win a basketball game.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Boise, man. We're not talking about. But you just said something with Goon.
So I just don't think he looks healthy. There's something he just doesn't look 100%. I don't think, you know what I mean? Like there's just something there. Like when he was walking off, he seemed like, he just walked gingerly, and I
It's
don't know
probably
exactly
not.
what it is. He just didn't, huh?
Yeah,
It's
it's probably
probably
not
not.
100%.
Yeah. So we need him, and he might not be 100% the rest of the year. You know what I mean? So
No, that's
now,
a big surgery to come back from, and I think that's a big point. That's a
I
big,
think we're
we
better
all.
when he plays well, and he's healthy, but you got to go with whatever you got, right? I want to back up to the point about losses on the road. And I want to make this point. We've had 4 losses on the road, correct? Utah State, Colorado State, New Mexico, and Grand Canyon. 3 of those have been at elevation, right? We're not going to have that problem in Vegas. Vegas is not at elevation. It's not going to be at a themed game, an orange out or stripe out or moo out or whatever, they do, where we pack, Aztecs, they pack the stands, right? And so they make that their Super Bowl. It's going to be a more partisan crowd in Vegas. So I think that does make a difference. And yes, they can win 3 games in 3 days. Will they be focused and will they be disciplined enough to play the type of championship team basketball that is needed to cut down the nets? That is my question mark on them.
I mean, that's the same question mark everybody has. Can they get it done 3 in a row? I mean, nobody's proven. I don't think any of these teams have proven anything this year, other than they're all pretty even, and they all win at home most of the time. Other than Utah State winning in the pit, that was a big one. But I don't know what we're going to see in this tournament, guys. I don't know what we're going to see. Colorado State might get hot, as they are on a win streak, which they play New Mexico. We could get into those scenarios.
there's a lot could happen in the next 2 games. You know what I mean? Everybody loves Fiend. I know everybody loves Fiend. He's got his stats, and he's always right. Blah, 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 blah. He's always asking me for notes before the podcast. So let's just get that out of the way. That's a true story I just made up. It's the inconsistency of running Utah State out of the gym, and then not following up with a good fundamental basketball game on the road where hey, we know if we win this game, we're in the driver's seat. So it's just the inconsistency this late in the year is like, all right, man, like, obviously you beat Wyoming, Air Force, and Nevada, right? You should. And then you lose the Grand Canyon at home. You lose at Colorado State, who's hot. They won 6 in a row. That'll be an interesting game when they play. Are they playing New Mexico next? Is that right?
CSU, I believe.
Yeah, in New Mexico. That's going to be an interesting game. There's a lot of weird things that can happen in the next game. So the only thing you can worry about is winning these next 2 games. So, I mean, it's just frustrating to watch that game and know that you had a chance, you had control of the game, and then you let it slip through your fingers.
3 games that we played on the road. We probably should have won.
The Grand Canyon game for sure on the road. We should have won. I think so.
Utah
That was
State as well.
Yeah. Now the conspiracy theories about all that stuff is whatever, man. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. But at the end of the day, if you let it's sometimes it works out like that. That helped us against Creighton in the Elite 8. Helps us another team. So it just didn't go away this time. But they played a heck of a game, man. So give them credit.
I guess we have to. I guess we have to. So, okay, if we want to talk about this week coming up, the Aztecs are on the road. Quick turnaround Tuesday on the road at Boise. That is, that's an interesting one right there. Boise's middle of the pack. They're not making a lot of noise, 10-8 in the conference, but they are capable at home. Like you said, Fiend, who knows if they're going to be striped out or something like that. The matchups are set as follows, though. So, like I said, Tuesday, Aztecs at Boise, Utah State at UNLV, who, like we said, just had a really, really big victory over Nevada. Of course, that's a rivalry, so they were really up for that game. Did you guys catch that one, dude? That was crazy.
The UNLV Nevada game?
Gibbs Lawhorn, 42 points.
Yeah. He went
ridiculous. And then we're also looking at, like you said, Colorado State at New Mexico. That's gonna be interesting. And then I want to say Friday, the Aztecs finish early hosting UNLV, where New Mexico goes on the road to Logan in a game that will probably, depending on how things shake out, that might determine, hey, if New Mexico can leapfrog everybody and get that number 1 seed, that'd be wild. That would be wild. How do you see this playing out, Fiend? Colorado State at New Mexico, the way both teams are playing, Colorado State's really hot. They've won 6 in a row, something like that, 7 in a row.
Yeah, that's the last game at New Mexico. It's senior night.
Yeah.
I would have to think New Mexico is going to win that game. I think Colorado State's a little different team than on the road than they are at home, and so I think their splits are pretty noticeable. So I think they will. I think New Mexico will take care of that game. Yeah.
So you guys see the standings there. I'm not sure exactly. Nevada, they're still mathematically able, but I mean, we would have to lose 2. New Mexico would have to lose 2. I don't see that happening. Nevada,
we are
guaranteed
a top 4 seed at least. We do not have to play on Wednesday, which is great because of that tiebreaker over Nevada that we have.
Oh, Justin, what's going on? He says, so if UNM wins at Utah State, then all 3 of SDSU, New Mexico, Utah State will have identical records and be 1-1 against each other. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. You might have to have somebody Google that on what that breakdown would be.
Well, then the tiebreaker comes down to either Nevada or Grand Canyon, which we do not have the tiebreaker with Grand Canyon, but we do with Nevada. 0-2 against Grand Canyon, 2-0 against Nevada. So we would need Nevada to finish higher than Grand Canyon.
As far as teams played, common teams played in the conference.
If you're talking about seeding for the conference tournament, right? If everyone is 1-1 against each other in the top 3, so you go head to head and then you go down, each one, and if there is an advantage there, then that's who gets the top seed. And so if Nevada is the higher seed, then because we beat them twice, I think we would wind up with the 1 seed.
That would be wild. That would be wild. We might have to be Lobos fans towards the end of this year. We'll see. What were we going to say, Mike? I know you had a question.
According to you guys, that's not too hard for me, huh?
It's not. It's very easy. That's the easy transition, Fiend. Hey, so here's a bet for you because we're getting Bojangles when we get to Vegas, right, Fiend?
Of course.
You and I.
100%. Yeah.
Let me put together some sinks here for some. We have each team has 2 games left. Let's do a little bracket or whatever you want of who wins what, right? CSU, New Mexico, Utah State, New Mexico, Grand Canyon plays Air Force, and then they play Fresno. So I can see them going 2-0. Nevada's got Wyoming, and I think I don't know who they have after that, but I think we should do a little bet, and then the cumulative score, whoever is better, has to buy Bojangles.
Okay.
When we get to, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Boise State plays Colorado State. That's an interesting game too.
I'll dig up my analytics for that.
No. Just come on, man. Just do it. Just Bojangles, bro. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is I don't know. You just got to go on. You can't worry about anything else except going to Boise and beat them. Obviously, I don't know. I'm really interested to see what team shows up on Tuesday, man. I really am. Because it could be the team that beat Utah State by 18, or it could be the team that played like they did against. I don't think they played horribly bad against New Mexico. They just didn't take advantage of the opportunities that were given to them. Yeah. Farrell was kind of non-existent. He only played like 8 minutes.
What happened with that? Why didn't he play more time? I don't know.
I mean, Tay played pretty good, 7-7. Tosh had some good, rebounding, but I don't assists, but I don't think
Goon was in there for a while. Heidi was in there.
Yeah,
that's kind of odd for Farrell to only get that many minutes. And he had nice alley-oop dunk from we saw in the highlights alley-oop dunk from Sean Newman, and Sean Newman's another guy I thought that he played really well in this game. Like he really redeemed himself from a pretty poor outing against Colorado State, where his defense really got exposed. I mean, he did some good defending on like Jake Hall, where Jake Hall tries to do that shot fake and he wouldn't bite on it. and they couldn't get him up in the air, and he just, and he was able to defend him and contest his shot. And so I thought, and then obviously on the offensive end, his ability to set the table for the team and get guys open and really read the defense off the pick and roll. And then that's kind of why I honestly, at the end there, I kind of wish Newman would have been in the game over BJ handling the ball, because he would have made those reads correctly. And so I think there's too much hate out there for Newman. I think there's some valuable, he has his deficiencies, but there's some really valuable skills that he has in certain situations that he can really help us out. And so I hope people will kind of ease off the hate on Newman.
5 assists for Newman, which was really nice. Taj DeGorville, 6 assists in 12 minutes. So you're looking at Newman, who played 17 minutes, 5 assists. Taj, 12 minutes, 6 assists. I mean, that's a pretty high amount of assists in those minutes. But Taj is another one, 12 minutes. I mean, it's not really a lot of time.
Yeah, I mean,
very true. It's if you look at the plus minus, on the game, some of our better guys were kind of at the bottom there. Reese Dixon Waters minus 12, BJ Davis minus 10, Miles Bird minus 9 on the floor, Magoon Guath minus 6. So definitely, I think our top players got to play better. They got to play smarter. They got to play better. I came across a crazy stat. Sorry, I don't want to just go off on a tangent here, but I thought maybe you guys would like to hear this. It absolutely baffled me when I saw this. So when you compare corner threes to above the break threes, you guys know what that is? Like, you have the corner three and then you have above the break in conference play. Above the break threes, Reese Dixon Waters, Miles Bird, BJ Davis, and LZ Harrington. Reese is hitting 30.4%. Miles is hitting 27.9%. BJ Davis is hitting 23.1%. And LZ Harrington is hitting 15.4%. All right. Pretty bad for almost all of them. I mean, very not good. Now, when you look at their corner threes, Reese Dixon Waters, 43.8%. Miles Bird, 47.4%. BJ Davis, 62.5%. And LZ Harrington, 42.9%. That is a huge difference in the threes. And we take way more above the break threes than we do corner threes. Be nice to kind of prioritize that and really try to get guys shots from the corner. Sorry, I'm done. I'm off my
No, I actually like that a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. Because I mean, obviously, the coaches know that too. So, do they?
I don't know.
No.
Do they follow analytics? I don't know.
That's that advanced analytics stuff that is so interesting, though, because it's like, if you have your shots, and this is like, my perspective is, when you get to that junior, senior year season, you got to have your shots dialed in, right? By then, you got to have your offensive game dialed in. You know where your spots are. You know what shots you can get. I think that's what gives LZ such an advantage as a true freshman, is he knows his spots. He's got that mid-range locked in. He gets there, pops it, and it's like money, right? It's like money a lot of times. But if you don't know your spots and you're not confident in your spots, or just not having that awareness in those crunch minutes, how do you explain it, right? I mean, I look back on like the Final Four run, and I was telling Fiend and Sean and some of those guys yesterday, like, I went back and looked at the Final Four run and just looked at all the highlights on that magical season. Of course, the composure, the boards, but the offense, like the guys were mature enough to know when you needed a bucket, this is what you went to. They had their droughts, though, guys. I mean, they had a lot of deficiencies at times, but it was those rebounds and that defense.
Their defense, though, was on a whole nother level.
That would just bring them back, absolutely. And that's what they leaned on. They knew it. They were tough. They were big. They were physical. They could match up.
They had center that could guard 1 through 5.
Mensa was just unbelievable.
Multiple centers, and AG, and
unbelievable, that run. And unfortunately, that's what every team moving forward is going to have to measure up to, right? Unfortunately or fortunately, whatever side you want to look at it, but that's the standard now, and you're going to be judged accordingly to that. My question, though, is looking at that championship team that Final Four team, like they trusted the process, right? I wish I could show that post national championship speech from Nathan Mensah and the rest of the guys, but specifically Nathan Mensah, sitting there at the podium, knowing that you just lost the Natty, but just pouring out. We trusted the process. It's more than basketball. It's about playing with these guys, going through the process, struggling as a freshman, going through those battles throughout your college years, getting to this point, sticking together. Unfortunately, and even Coach Dutch said it there, that he said it there at that podium, because that was like really when the floodgates of NIL and the portal were going to really start opening up. And the question was, are we ever going to see this again? Like, this team was a celebration of collegiate sports and players. This team that we have right now, the potential is there, the talent is there. I think the heart is there.
Yeah.
But will they trust the process, right? I mean, we've seen the reports, like you brought up, Fiend, the other day with Ziegler's article, people voices inside the head. I think they buckled down that last game to really come out against Utah State and prove a point. But it starts now, right? This is March, guys. We are in March. This is when the pressure, the heat gets turned up, uncertainty. It could be done like that in the conference tournament. It could be done like that if you don't make the NCAA tournament. The master plan, I think, for this team is on par with what we saw 3 years ago in the national championship. But this team may look very different. They may not trust that process. They may not be willing to go through these bumps, trials, learning lessons to get to that ascending point where you can hold up that championship trophy. I think we all know that this team has the talent to get there. They don't have the maturity to get there yet.
They're a lot
and I
younger.
think they're missing a couple pieces.
They're a lot younger than that team 3 years ago. So, and that's the way it's going to be now. I mean, we were sort of the model for getting older, and then the younger teams, they said, oh, you know what, look, we should get older too now with this NIL. And that's what the advantage has been. And we've kind of stayed young because of, NIL, and we're starting freshmen and sophomores and guys who haven't had as much college basketball experience. But that is really where you need to lean on your guys like a Reese Waters, like a Miles Bird, like BJ Davis, who have been in the system for at least 3 years. They are your most experienced players, and they need to be setting the example and playing at the highest IQ level of anyone on the court, and we're not always seeing that from them. And I challenge them. I challenge them to step up, start playing smarter on the floor and being more disciplined. You're old enough. You've been in the program for a while. We're only going to go as far as they take us. Okay. They take the most shots on the team. We're only going to go as far as those players take us. So they have to commit to the process and playing team basketball.
Are we going to get a text message from you if we beat Boise State and they play that way, saying they were listening to you on the podcast and they do what you told them to do?
They won't let them. No, none of them listen.
It happened last time. So I just want to make sure.
Maybe their parents do.
Here's my thing. I'm not going to compare them to that team. That was a special team. More continuity. Yeah, you didn't have the NIL thing, right? You had guys that were older, played together 3 or 4 years, together. So there was a cohesiveness and a chemistry. Remember when Bradley and Seiko, before even like senior night, they're like, "Nah, we're coming back."
Yeah,
they were coming back. It's a different beast now. You got guys from Europe who play professionally who are coming over here and make more money. That's weird to me. Like I still don't, whatever. That is what it is. You have to adapt or die, right? So this team has talent. It has an unbelievable amount of talent. What are you going to do with this in the next 2+ games that you are guaranteed that you have? You should come home and you should win that game against UNLV on senior night. Let's pencil that in for a W, not necessarily pen, right? But that Boise game is huge. You win these next 2 games, New Mexico and Utah State, one of those 2 teams is going to lose a game, obviously, because they play each other. So there's some standing shufflings in 2 games. Like a lot can happen. Now you need a little bit of help. So you win 2 games, you get a little help. What are you going to do with that luck? You know, yeah, you go into Vegas, and historically we play well in Vegas. But I need, like Fiend said, you gotta take advantage. And like we said, I said Reese is gonna carry us as long as we have. This is the first game Reese hasn't had double digits in quite a while. Now, yeah, we lost 2 to Colorado State in that, in the other one, but this is the first game he didn't have more than double digits. So BJ played well off the bench. Like I said, I love BJ off the bench, but Taj not having any, Taj and LZ, I love their mid range games. They just, when LZ shoots it from mid range, I'm like, that's probably going to go in. Taj is similar to that, right? So we can say all we want, but this team is what this team is.
Yeah.
What consistency are we going to get from them? The consistency of consistency, or the consistency of inconsistency in this next game?
I think the point is like a lot of teams out there, big money teams, right? They go all in on 1 year championship or bust. The master plan at State, it's not that, because you don't have those dollars to specifically try and do that. The master plan is to at least build upon a year or 2 or 3, right? Whether this group is going to be able to see that, look beyond the dollars, look beyond all the other trappings, who knows? I see in the chat, according to Ziegler, Tensei says next year Tay, Majok, and question mark. And nobody knows. Nobody knows. We all thought Goon was going to be gone, and he came back this year. Will those elements of that bigger master plan keep the core together? Who knows? But we'll worry about that when we get there. This year's team, like you said, Mike, win these 2 games, do something special in the tournament, see how far you can take it, and then see for yourself as a unit. The guys are going to have to look at each other as a unit and say, look, we want to run it back. We think this team could be special the next year. Quick question before I pass it over to you, Fiend, because I see you kind of chomping at the bit. Question is, do we think Coach Bottertelli is in a little over his head running the offense? I'm going to say no. And I think because of all the things we're talking about right now, like you cannot compare where this team is right now to like the championship teams with the previous coaching staff and offensive game plan and direction we were going over. Like even those teams had massive offensive issues. Like let's not sugarcoat it. But they were super clutch. They were dogs on the defensive end and the offensive end. I mean, you watch those highlights. I mean, they were just so aggressive on the offensive end, man. It was awesome.
Before Fiends gets into this, how do you say the offense is struggling when they're the highest scoring offense in 40 years?
And they're so young. Do they have issues? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
come on, man. That's an interesting question, knowing that they're the highest scoring offense in 40 years, right? But I understand he's talking about the execution of shots at certain times. I think is maybe what he's talking about more than the capacity.
Yeah, the issue in this game was probably more defensive than offense. I mean, we gave up over. Anytime you give up over 80 points in the game, I mean, that's gonna be tough to win, especially on the road. So, those defense closeouts. I mean, you saw in the highlights there, Jay Call hit that 3, and Taj was late on the closeout, and Coach Dave got up out of his seat and stomping on the floor. He was really unhappy with some of the closeouts that we had on their 3-point shooters, and obviously all the stuff that we talked about, the issues with the interior. A major issue on the defensive end.
They only really played 6 guys. 2 of the guys,
the bulk.
The bulk of what they played, their starters played 30 plus minutes.
Yeah,
and then one of the Tanet played 26 or something. The other 2 guys played less than 10. So I mean. You what are you gonna do, man? You can't. You know what you can do? Start winning games like the women.
Absolutely.
Win a game. You guys are there. I mean, the women have chemistry.
Yep.
The men have talent.
Yep.
Right? In terms of, obviously the women have talent too, but in terms of if we had to put one word on each, the men have the talent, the women have the chemistry.
Women have the highest GPA in history of the program, man. They are smart. They have great basketball IQ. They share the ball. It is so awesome to watch them play.
Kaylin Hamilton scored a career high 18. Naomi Panganiban poured in 20. We saw it there after watching the men's game. 70-51, the Aztecs beat Wyoming, who they beat in triple overtime last year in the Mountain West Conference tournament, and they just put it on them. Fiend, you had to go down into the show because we were up by so much, but you're like, okay, if they start slacking off, get down to 10, I'm going down there. You went down there. Of course, that's when Coach Stacy put the starters back in, and it was like, okay, it just happened to time it up at the right time. Fiend, I see your methods. Very smart man.
We got to back up this money, So.
Yeah, man, those girls are special.
What was the surprise? By the way, you guys said you had a surprise for me this podcast. Is it still going to come?
No.
Okay, good.
Unfortunately,
I don't want it. Unfortunately, okay. Yeah. Lucky me. No, but how was
let the whole team down?
How was the crowd? Was it a pretty good crowd?
The crowd was decent. It wasn't as much as the last game, I think, because the last game was to clinch, right? And dude, yesterday was just such a freaking awesome, beautiful weather day. Like, it was so hot. Everybody's at the beach. I mean, everybody, there was hardly anybody on campus walking around. If they were heading out to the beach. Like, you could just see it going to a pool. So it was a tough game to, I think, middle of the day. Everybody was out doing their stuff, but it was a good crowd. The people who were there, we were enthusiastic. Everybody was into it. We knew that this team, and Coach Stacy at the end got on the mic, thanked everybody for their support. Just super classy move there, and just thanking the fans. And it's something to build on. Absolutely, because I know Nala is a senior, but many on the team should be returning. I hope so. I think because they got something special going. But it's gonna be fun to see what they do in Vegas.
Lee's a senior too.
Yeah, the Mountain West is a one bid league too in the women's basketball, and so because you won the regular season, they're not getting in as an at-large bid. Last I had checked, it was like they were 69th in the net. That's not going to get you in as an at-large. So they need to win 3 games in 3 days again to cut down those nets and to get back to the NCAA tournaments. So it's a whole new season. Like, you won the regular season, you cut down the nets, you raise the trophy. Now you start from scratch. After they play on the road at Air Force, then you start from scratch, and you got to win 3 games in 3 days, or your season is over. So it's time for them to lock in, for a whole new season.
Don't listen to them, ladies. You guys won the regular season championship. Be proud of that. Be proud of what your accomplishments, and then worry about the tournament then.
Always proud. They'll have a banner. They got that banner. That's going to be hanging right up there. But, hey, Air Force, Tuesday, 3 o'clock Pacific. So it's going to be a little earlier. Everybody, thank you guys for sticking around with us as we kind of went through this therapeutic session. It's always good therapy for me, guys, talking about this and getting frustrated with both you knuckleheads. I can't wait to get to Vegas.
To see us.
2 more games.
He gets frustrated this on the podcast. He's like, "Hey, I can't wait to see you guys in Vegas."
Yeah.
So passive aggressive.
The media, yeah. Hey guys, should we really be doing that? I'm excited. Me and Fiend are getting there early. We're gonna go hit it up. We gotta do that. I'll do that Bojang or that bet. We gotta figure that out.
We're thinking about putting together like a Bart Torvik bet, like bets, and just all based on like analytics and on the tournament, and we'll see how that turns out for us. Like if we had bet based last year based on how teams had played from like February 1st on, we would have been 9-1 in the tournament if you bet money line on all those games. And so we're going to do something similar, and we'll see if we get the winnings, and we'll do it up somewhere. I don't know, man. Maybe we'll get table service at a club or something. I don't know.
We're old, man. We're not going to a club. What are you talking about, dude?
Somebody's gonna be getting older. In Vegas.
True, that's true.
Yeah. We'll go to a Cirque du Soleil show. So we'll go to. We'll get the box seats at the Cirque du Soleil show. That's what we'll do, man.
Cirque du Soleil. Azteca Manteca, all the way from Thailand. What's going on, Sons of Montezuma? Azteca Manteca, go have a Thai iced tea for me all the way out there in Bangkok, or wherever you're at. I don't know.
It's a hard man. Sorry.
We had to get the reminder. No CBM at USC. No more CBM at USC. Were they going to make the tournament, guys? I didn't catch up with.
They were bubble teams, so that actually kind of helps us out if they get their bubble burst because their best player is out, so it may actually be in our favor. But I honestly, after this loss at UNM, I thought that was sort of a playing game, and I'm not sure that we're really got a good shot at large, especially with with bid Steelers, because they always knock out a couple teams that are on the bubble. So we'll see.
Wasn't New Mexico? New Mexico had pretty good standing though. They were
right there with us.
To lose to them at home. I don't think that's a terrible loss. I don't think it is.
To the selection committee, prime time, CBS. How much does that selection committee watch Mountain West games? I'm sure they tuned into that game. It'll be a factor in their minds.
You think it's a one big league still? I think it might be a 2. I think it could be a 2.
I think it depends on who wins the conference tournament.
Yeah. It could wind up being a 2-bid league. I mean, if Utah State won.
I mean, there's some dangerous teams in here, man.
Or one bid league, excuse me.
There's some dangerous teams in here. It's also matchups. Matchups. I don't whatever. That's a problem for a different day. Boise's the only problem we need to worry about.
Yeah. I agree with you, Justin. What's going on? Flavor guy from the show. The selection committee, I think one thing we have going for ourselves, right, if we get to that championship game in the conference, is the storylines. I think they do a good job of not strictly going by the metrics, right? It's not just about the numbers. You got to factor in the storylines in there. So hopefully we got enough cachet with the brand and what we've been doing lately, right?
And there should be a little fear of God in these guys too. You lost in the first round to Boise last year in the Mountain West Tournament. You got throttled by North Carolina in the first 4. Is that how you? I mean, that's something that's got to be weighing in your mind. You don't want to repeat with that again this year. Your first hurdle is get through the season and then win that first game, right? Because the way that ended last year, to lose 2 back-to-back, that was tough, man. You know what I mean? And I think that's part of the reason Bird came back, honestly, in the unfinished business.
Yep.
So I don't.
Why the 2023 team came back.
Yeah. So this is. I mean, there's no more excuses at this point.
Yeah.
This is basically win or go home. You lose to Boise, nothing good can come from losing to Boise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then you got ULV on the road. They seem to be helter skelter too. So I don't know, man. Win.
It's gonna be wild.
Collect yourself. Get to Boise. It's a 6 p.m. so it's a 7 p.m. start. So it's a night game. It's not a day game, obviously. You got to buckle down here, man.
I agree. Guys, thank you for joining the stream. We're going to wrap things up. It is March, officially March. 3-team race, Utah State, New Mexico, San Diego State. It's going to be fun. 2 games this week to wrap the final season in the Mountain West. We'll get into more, projections and seedings and all that stuff. I think after this Boise game, that's going to, like you said, Mike's going to show us a lot. So plenty more to come to you guys this week. You guys make sure you're staying tuned. sonsofmontezuma.com. All the articles, of course, the shop. Save that 15% off using the promo code MONTY and get you some goodies. Spring is here. March is here. So do it. Fiend, thank you for joining. Appreciate you, man. Any parting shots before we say goodbye to the folks?
Reese, Bird, BJ, Elzy, take more corner threes.
All good.
Just play fundamental basketball, and maybe don't post comments in the comment section if you haven't listened to the friggin' podcast.
Yeah, listen, and then call in and leave a voicemail, you turkeys.
Yeah, nobody say anything about the calls. Chosen guy 505. Hey, let's go. Let's beat Boise. Let's get that W, and then let's get to what we need to get to, and then give us a shot for the last game of the season. Let's get to 15-5. There's that 15-5 number I talked about. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So that New Mexico Utah State game is going to be a really, really interesting game to end the season, depending on what happens in this on Tuesday and Wednesday.
I'm looking forward to it. Everybody have a great night. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, sonsofmontezuma.com. Go Aztecs. Beat Boise. Beat those donkeys.
Go Aztecs.
Go Aztecs.